Hello, welcome to the Reaction Shot Podcast. For this episode, I'll be doing something a little different. I, along with my friend Brittany Cunningham, are honoring the life and career of the late Michelle Trachtenberg. But I don't understand. I don't understand how this all happens. How we go through this. I mean, I knew her, and then there's just a body, and I don't understand why she just can't get back into it and not be dead anymore. It's stupid. It's mortal, and it's stupid, and everyone's crying and not talking, and I was having fruit punch, and I thought, well, Michelle will never have any more fruit punch, ever, and she'll never have eggs or yawn or brush her hair, not ever, and no one will explain to me why. This may be a heavier episode than I'm used to, but I'm so happy to be here in this new season with you, the listeners. So much has happened since season 1, and I couldn't be happier. One of the biggest things to make a note of is I'm now officially a part of the You Run Podcast Network. A network jam-packed with some amazing creators with a wide range of podcast topics. So, hop on over to the You Run Podcast webpage. That's yourunpodcast.com, and check out all the other amazing talents featured. But there's one in particular I'd like to point out, and that's Movies for Days. That's movies, number 4, and days, spelled D-A-Y-Z. Let me tell you, this is one hell of a great movie podcast. It's hosted by the super funny, talented, and knowledgeable Newman. Newman, along with some equally charismatic guests, take deep dives into beloved films, both old and new, to further dissect and discuss them. There are even episodes with bigger topics, focusing on entire franchises, themes, and other movie-centric topics. It's your non-pretentious, easy access movie chat podcast. So, go check out Movies for Days. That's movies, number 4, days, D-A-Y-Z, part of the You Run Podcast Network. You can find that at yourunpodcast.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So now, let's get into Season 2, Episode 6 of the Reaction Shot Podcast, with a focus on the life, career, and legacy of Michelle Trachtenberg. But first, let me start with 2 quotes from her. The first about being grateful. The core for anything is to be grateful. It's literally as simple as that. I've always known that I'm lucky to be an actress, and I'm lucky to be a working actress. I'm lucky to have garnered enough attention for certain roles, and I'm grateful for it. I also have this quote about believing in yourself. Believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, you can't accomplish your goals. Know that you can do anything, and anything will happen. I really like these quotes. Rest in peace, Michelle. Hi everyone, I'm Dave, and I love movies. So, welcome to my podcast, The Reaction Shot. In each episode, I'll dive deep into a movie of any genre that holds a special place in my heart. But here's the twist. I bring on a guest who has never seen that movie before, until now. We discuss, dissect, and review from pre to post-production to behind-the-scenes stories and well into its impact on pop culture. Will we agree on everything, or will we have wildly different views? Thanks for hitting play. Let's roll tape and find out. Fade in. Welcome to today's episode, dedicated to a remarkable actress who stole our hearts from an early age, Michelle Trachtenberg. Tragically, Michelle's life was cut short on February 26, 2025, at just 39 years old. Her untimely passing has left a profound impact on the entertainment industry and her devoted fans. In the wake of this heartbreaking news, social media was flooded with an outpouring of disbelief, grief, and cherished memories. Despite her passing, Michelle's legacy lives on through her impressive body of work, on and off the screen. It's safe to say that she left a mark on all who had the privilege of watching her grow and evolve as an actress and human. This was not an episode that I expected to do. It's not an episode I want to do. The subject is not something light. Michelle Trachtenberg grew up not only before us, but with us. Only 2 years younger than Michelle, my guest Brittany and I wanted to take some time to honor a beautiful talent gone too soon. Brittany, hi. How are you feeling about this subject today?
Hi, Dave. I'm feeling really sentimental about, honestly, my childhood, knowing, I followed her career since I was 8 years old, so it's nostalgic, but it's tragic, it's sad. I'm excited to talk about her life and her career that I enjoyed watching, but at the same time, it's kind of a double-edged sword because of how young she was and how abrupt it was, and yeah. How are you feeling?
When I saw the news break, I got an alert on my phone, and I read the headline, and I was like, wait, what? Michelle Trachtenberg? It was crazy to me. It threw me off because, as we both mentioned, she was so young, and we never really knew of, anything really going on with her. There was always things being talked about. It was always something that she was quick to shut down. She would post photos online on her social media pages, and people would comment about her appearance, and unfortunately, sometimes they were never very nice things. But in true fashion, she would respond to them and be dismissive and say that she is happy and she is healthy. And to see the news of her passing, I was kind of taken aback because, she is only 2 years older than us. And to see the initial reports that she died of natural causes was kind of like, well, what natural causes come about at 39 years old?
39, yeah.
So, yeah, it definitely shocked me. And then because she was such a big part of, our lives growing up, all millennials know who Michelle is and have seen her work. And I don't know, it was tough. It really was. And a lot of things that, over the years I've watched, she would always be a part of it.
Yep.
She started off, she was doing Pete and Pete. She did Harriet the Spy. Before you know it, she was hopping on to Buffy, a show that was already well established and a show that I had already loved. And it's, and then we got Gossip Girl and so on and so forth. And it was just like everything. She kind of had an imprint on every single little thing that we already enjoyed, and she made it just that much better.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And also watching her career as we were growing up, it was like milestones because she was in Harriet the Spy. I mean, my whole personality. I still get these notebooks because of Harriet the Spy. The
Absolutely.
Classic black and white with the black stem on it. It's amazing. And she really impacted a lot of people's lives throughout her career.
Absolutely. So she was born on October 11th, 1985 in New York City. She grew up in Brooklyn, and she attended the Bay Academy for Arts and Sciences. From the youngest age, she was already auditioning. Mm-hmm. So a lot of reports talk about her first major thing that she booked was a commercial at the age of 3. I actually recently listened to an older interview that she had early into the pandemic on a podcast, and she talked about how that is true, but her very first gig was at like 18 months old, and she was running through grass, and she talked about how even at that very young of age, she developed this phobia of grass. She's, I mean, that to hear a phobia of grass, I was like, oh, that's a random phobia to have. But
I mean, grass does feel weird. I'm allergic, so
yeah.
I don't.
Oh no. Well, you're allergic, and Michelle Trachtenberg, it was absolutely not having the grass at all. She said it harbors a lot of creepy things. Things can hide in it. She talked about
Spiders.
ticks. Yep, spiders. And she was like, I wanted nothing to do with it. So that was her first actual like on camera role. So she was doing this for a very long time, and her parents were Jewish immigrants. Actually, her father Michael was from Germany, and her mother Lana was from Odessa, Ukraine. And she has an older sister named Irene as well. Oh. She attended Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks, California, after her family moved to Los Angeles. So she grew up in New York and in Brooklyn, so she's a New York girl at heart. Obviously, her career took her to Los Angeles, but she said that she never wanted to lose that New York girl inside of her.
I absolutely love that, because whenever researching her, finding out that she was from Brooklyn, and I said, oh, that is Georgina Sparks through and through. And that makes me love that character even more.
Yeah, absolutely.
She enjoyed playing it, and she went back to the roots.
Mm-hmm.
New York City.
Yeah. In that same podcast, I heard her talk about how true to New York City high schoolers Gossip Girl was. And she was like, that's scary to say, because, you know, we're watching these elite teenagers drink and do drugs, and you know, all the premarital sex, and all the scandals they were involved in. And you know, she was quick to say that unfortunately those things were very true, and sometimes she met multiple people that were very similar to Georgina throughout her life, and that's the scary truth of it all. So, could you imagine?
I couldn't imagine being her and meeting a character that she knows, like, how it's going to go, and knowing, like, how bubbly she was. She was probably like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, right.
Like, none of that.
None of that, please. So, Michelle, obviously, as I mentioned, started her career off in commercials. Mm-hmm. She actually did over 100 advertisements under the age of 10. Wow. 100 different types of commercials under the age of 10.
That's why. Were most of them for Nickelodeon? So
they were actually just like selling products. One of her major ones that she did multiple ones for were Whisk laundry detergent.
Oh, I do remember seeing a Rosie O'Donnell interview with her. They were talking about Harriet the Spy, and she mentioned that Whisk commercial thing when she was 3.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Got it. Yeah, so there's lots of commercials of Michelle floating around out there as well. But her breakthrough performance came with the 1994 TV show The Adventures of Pete and Pete on Nickelodeon, where she played Nona Mecklenburg. I am not very familiar with Pete and Pete, to be honest. It was never a show that really interests me. But it's obviously a big part of the legacy of Michelle Trachtenberg, so that alone right there made me want to, you know, bring it up and talk about it for a second, because that show was pretty popular. It only lasted for 2 seasons, but television shows then, the formats of television episodes were a little bit different, so it was on for quite a bit. Then she went on for her feature film debut in Harriet the Spy in 1996, where she played the title character of Harriet. Yeah. Brittany, what is your reaction to Harriet the Spy? How old were you when you saw it? What did it mean to you?
I was 8 years old. Now, I was 8 years old whenever it came out. Was I 8 whenever I saw it? That I do not know. I have a feeling that I probably saw it in theaters, because I was all about it right away, with the pranks, just the heartfelt scenes, Gully. Thinking about that movie makes me smile, because it was so good. It was so funny. There's so many big characters now, and like it all revolved around Michelle, and you could just tell that all of those kids had the best time on that set. And I wanted to be there.
For sure. Yeah, when Harriet the Spy came out, I went to go see it at the movie theater, and I loved it so much. And you mentioned The Notebook. At 37 years old, you have The Notebook, yes. And every time you see The Notebook, that is Harriet the Spy. That composition Notebook is Harriet the Spy. You see someone with that notebook, Brittany, if I was with you right now, I would want to open up that book and be like, who is she writing about?
Right? Exactly. You know? Exactly. Meanwhile, it's just notes on the movies that I watched.
There you go. Even better. She would be proud. She would be proud.
Yes. No spy stuff, but maybe.
Hey, you never know. So Harriet the Spy, same with me. I remember seeing it in the theaters and just falling in love with. It's very whimsical in a very grounded way. It's relatable for kids. It has so much heart to it. Rosie O'Donnell's character, she really brings so much insight, but it's not in like a preachy way. It's the type of mentor, family member, friend, whatever it might be. That's someone that you wanted to have in your life, and you felt that connection. Michelle's acting in that film at the age of 11, she really brought it. I think she was 10 when she started filming it. She was 11 when it came out. And she gave her all at such a young age, and her emotion, crying, her screaming when she has her fit in the room and starts ripping up all of her notebooks. It's so relatable. And that's the one thing about Michelle, and that's why we're here honoring her, is that Michelle just embodied who we were as kids, as teenagers, as adults. To lose her, it's rough. We don't know her personally. We don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but we know at our age some of the things that we go through on a day-to-day basis. And it's sad to, rewatching Harriet the Spy and, just seeing so much youth and carefree life. It's still a great feeling. It's nostalgic. Watching that movie brings me back to hanging out with my neighborhood friends and growing up in elementary school and on the playground. And I think after I saw Harriet the Spy, me and my neighbors would go over to his grandma who lived next door. We would go over to her house, and we would like jokingly spy on her. We would just like hide in the living room and see what she was doing. It would be like, Grandma ate breakfast. And but it was never anything super exciting. We never got to experience all the stuff Harriet did. But that movie was definitely very magical. I think a lot of kids at the time looked up to her. And again, circling back, even at the age of 37, we're still grabbing those composition notebooks and thinking, what would Harriet have done?
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's how, honestly, every time I just think I need a new notebook, which half the time I don't, because I don't write fully in all of them, but I will always pick up at least one of these every time.
Wait, I do the same exact thing, Brittany. I'll buy a notebook and I'll be like, okay, I have a new notebook. And then my other one, there's like 100 pages that are like, please write on me. And they just, nothing happens to them. So then I get a new notebook, and then the same exact thing happens, or I use a permanent marker and it leaks through 4 of the pages. So,
which is one of the most annoying things that happens. And you're
it's
like,
so
why
annoying.
did I use that pen?
Yeah, the worst. Harriet would.
I wonder, right? I was going to say, I wonder what Harriet, like, if she came across those problems, or did she do like a double page? Like, if it bled through, did she tape the other? Maybe. So many things.
So many things. So then Michelle went on to do a couple other smaller films. She always did a couple of random TV show episodes as well. She had a small role in Inspector Gadget as Penny. I saw Inspector Gadget when I was younger. I'll be honest with you, though. I don't really remember anything about it.
It was a really good movie. I remember seeing it in theaters. I was a big Disney Channel girly, so they would always play. There was a music video made out of the movie to go with the song I'll Be Your Everything by Youngstown, which was like the theme song for the movie. And I want to say like clips of it. So she was technically in that music video.
Oh, well, hey, I love that too.
She's in a lot of other music videos too. Like 2 other, one was Fall Out Boy in 2007.
Which song was that? Was it
This Ain't a Scene, It's an Arm Race?
Yes,
which
that's
is
correct.
A fantastic song. And then also the band Trapped, the music video Echo in 2002, which both songs I listen 100%. To probably far more than I need.
No, that's okay. And again, bringing back the idea that we grew up with her. You know, everything that we were loving, she was a part of. So she was a part of that pop culture movement with us. Going back to Harriet the Spy, I remember being a kid, and I've always loved movies. So I remember being in the theater and just being like, I didn't know her actual age at the time, but I remember sitting there just thinking to myself, what a lucky young girl to get to do this, to be a part of this world and be a part of this film and change people's lives. Again, you know, all the things that we were loving in pop culture, she was also loving, and she had the fortunate career to be able to actually then become a part of those things. Whew. So then come 2000, we have Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Season 5, episode 1, the very end of the episode. Yep. All of a sudden, Buffy finds out that she has a sister. And when I say Buffy finds out, we as an audience, we all found out. But the weird thing that we didn't really quite understand at the end of that episode, when we go into episode 2 of season 5, everyone's talking to her character's name, Dawn. Everyone is talking to Dawn as if Dawn has been there from day one. And as an audience, we're all like, this girl just came up out of nowhere. What is happening? I remember after the season 5 episode 1 ended with that little cliffhanger of we take your sister, whatever the actual dialogue is. And they're both like, Mom. I remember calling my friend on our landline and being like, what just happened? Yeah, I was like, I've been a devoted fan of Buffy for 4 years. Yeah. And why did I never notice that she had a sister? Why was this all of a sudden a part of, I don't get it. I don't understand. Yep. But one of the great things about Buffy is, of course, it's set in a supernatural type world where all bets are off. Crazy things can happen. And Dawn ended up being a plant. She was referred to as a key and basically a mystical being. So she was just, implanted into their world, and their memories were formed to believe that she had always been there from day one. And of course, Dawn is very prominent and important in the rest of the series of Buffy. She had a huge impact there. Brittany, I know that you as well are a huge fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, including the fact that you are wearing a Buffy the Vampire Slayer shirt right now. Kudos to you. I love it. Grr arg is what her shirt says. It's a Merry Christmas shirt. She's getting all ready to, obviously we're doing an episode dedicated to Michelle Trachtenberg, so what better way to honor her than to wear a Buffy the Vampire Slayer t-shirt? So
yes.
I love that, Brittany.
Thank you.
Outside of the fact that we know that you love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, what was your connection to the show starting in season 5 when Dawn came about? How did this impact you, and what did you think of Dawn as a character and Michelle Trachtenberg's acting throughout the show?
I was shocked like the rest of the world. I had been watching it religiously whenever it first aired. So I was a big fan. I knew all the characters, who everybody was. So whenever this random girl turns around as Buffy's like, what are you doing in my room? And Joyce, Summer's mom, said, take your sister to the mall. And she's like, I don't want to do this with Mom. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. When did she have a sister? So whenever episode 2 comes up and everybody is going around like she's been there from the gate, I was like, I swear this can't be real. Is this another dream? But I was really excited for Michelle Trachtenberg to be a part of one of my number one shows. And so I was excited for that. Was confused about Dawn's character for a minute. But by the end of season 5, we all know what happens for those who watched it. And you fall in love with Dawn. Like she's your kid sister that you never knew you wanted, didn't actually want, but like completely fell in love with her. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the series itself of Buffy, she's the last person that says a line in the whole series, which I was like a little button to like wrap up how we got her. Not knowing who she was, but like, she's like, what do we do now, Buffy? With Buffy smiling, and you're just like, yes, this is amazing. Oh, what an amazing series. I'm probably going to rewatch it. I was already planning on rewatching it, but it's so good. So good.
Yeah, she does have the last line of the series, and even though her character doesn't come in until the first episode of season 5, she is very important, and she has so many great scenes, and you did mention
So
the
many great
season
episodes.
5. Oh, absolutely. The season 5 finale, brilliant.
The Gift.
Yep.
It should have won Emmys, just awards across the board. Dawn screaming, like, there are so many points of time whenever she has that, like, screechy scream that she does. Whenever, spoiler alert for people who haven't seen Buffy, when Ben and Glory go back and forth, and Ben comes in, he's being all nice to Dawn, and she's like, I don't want you. I'd rather have the beast that's trying to kill me. And she's like, she keeps saying her name over and over again, shrieking more and more. It was just so good. And she was probably like 15.
Yeah.
Whenever she did that role, 16. So,
yeah,
I absolutely love her.
Yeah, she does a phenomenal job on Buffy. Buffy was a show that you definitely needed some pretty good acting chops for the simple fact that there's so much mythology and analogies for growing up and different things about other things, and you had to have those emotions because there was a lot of things happening. And Michelle Trachtenberg does such a good job. And one of my favorite episodes of Buffy is the episode The Body, and that episode is very Sarah Michelle Gellar centered, which is obvious. However, Dawn is in the episode for a little bit, and just the dialogue, the acting between her and Sarah Michelle Gellar is incredible. And that brings me to the fact that one of Michelle Trachtenberg's earliest roles when she was younger was actually on All My Children with Sarah Michelle Gellar. So, you know, they kind of had a history together, and losing Michelle was obviously tough for so many people. So when Sarah Michelle Gellar decided to post about the passing of Michelle, she made an Instagram post with a bunch of pictures of her and Michelle behind the scenes working together, also some photo stills from the episodes that they shared together on Buffy, and all she wrote in the caption was a line from the show. She changed the words just a little bit to make it Michelle specific, and she says, Michelle, listen to me. Listen, I love you. I will always love you. The hardest thing in this world is to live in it. I will be brave. I will live for you. And then she added 3 broken hearts and a key to represent how brokenhearted she is and how Dawn was the key on the show. When Sarah posted that, I was like, oh, I'm gutted. That is, it's simple. It gives the fans everything that they loved about the show, about the character, about the characters together, and about these 2 women who became friends and grew up together over the years, from All My Children all the way up through Buffy and pretty much beyond. So,
yeah. And it just solidified the fact that, like, they were sisters.
For sure.
Like, whether it was blood or not, like, they through and through were sisters. Reading that, I immediately was sobbing. And I was like, oh, well, okay. There it is. There are the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Because reading that, everybody knows what scene that is, and that was devastating in itself. So to see it flipped, knowing what it actually means.
Yep. I don't want to say that was a great thing that she wrote, because I hate the fact that she even had to write it. But thinking of us as humans, because celebrities obviously are human, just knowing that Sarah Michelle Gellar had to think of the words to say about the passing of someone much younger than her had to be tough. I think she did a really great job of just summarizing her feelings, and fans of Buffy getting that feeling just based on that quote. So
yes, I agree.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine how tough it's been for all of her, like, co-stars, her family for sure, but, like, the people who she built family with, in all of the projects that she's done. I feel for everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, and I think there was so many people who came out and said things about her passing and about their time on the show. I think I pretty much saw all, the Buffy actors and actresses come out and do a heartwarming little tribute to her and her career and their time with her. And she just seemed like such a great person. And I think it's great that they all took the time out of their day to honor her. I love that.
I agree.
So immediately after Buffy the Vampire Slayer, we got another, in my opinion, great film role from Michelle. Yes. And that film is Euro Trip.
The best. I watched it this morning and I was absolutely rolling on the floor laughing.
Yeah. Michelle Trachtenberg plays Jenny. She is a twin in the film. She's a twin brother. And the film is absolutely hilarious.
It's hilarious, off the wall, doesn't make sense, makes perfect sense.
100%. It's Zach and I were rewatching it the other day, and we were just cracking up. And the movie is so random and so off the wall with some of its humor. I'm like, what? It's kind of like, what is happening? What was going on through people's minds to want to get this made? But I say that with love because it's so funny. It's so well done. The chemistry of the cast and characters are so good. And Michelle Trachtenberg does a really good job. It was a little bit more of an adult role for her. There was some swearing. There was some adult content. And it was something a little bit different from her. But again, we were growing up with her. This was 2004. We were in high school. I remember this movie came out. My friends and I went to go see it, and I actually ended up seeing it multiple times. I don't remember how many times, but I saw it multiple times, multiple weekends, because I thought the movie was so funny. So I kept taking like little different groups of friends to go to the theater to watch it.
I was like, come see it. Come on.
Yeah. I'm like, forget the awards movies. Let's go watch a Euro Trip.
Yes. So, I mean, to this day, I still say lines from that movie. So it was so impactful. She's hilarious in it.
So funny.
She has to constantly tell the boys that she hangs out with, like, I am a girl. I get it that, like, I'm one of the guys. But, like, no, I'm a girl that grew up with you guys. Like, stop being weird. Whenever Cooper's like, he's like, but you're not, like, a real girl. You're, like, one of the boys who's a girl. You're Jamie's twin. And she's like, okay, whatever. And then they end up hooking up.
Yep, 100%. What does he say? Jenny's hot. I never knew Jenny was hot. Like that.
Yeah, and then she was like, what? It's like, yeah, so I have been this whole time. Thank you very much.
No.
Oh, such a great movie. And it showed off her just comedic chops like she did in Harriet the Spy.
Yep. Yeah, I was actually going to mention that too. She... in a more recent interview from a couple years ago, she was asked what genre she likes the most because she has been in a lot of different genres. And she said that comedy is her favorite to do. She says it's a great way to, really tap into a lot of your emotions and bring it out in a way that makes people feel comfortable. And making somebody laugh is such a good, it's a privilege to be able to make someone laugh. And she said that's to her was always her favorite. So
I love that. It showed in that movie.
Yeah, Euro Trip is fantastic. If you guys have not seen Euro Trip, definitely check it out. Go into it with an open mind and
yes, because some things that happen, it's not cringy, but things that happen are cringy.
Sure. Yep.
In the movie.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot too. I've talked about it a lot on the podcast with different movies we've done that are a little bit older. There was definitely a lot of different things that were said and done, even just back in 2004, that now we're just kind of like, oh, but...
Yeah, but like you gotta...
Yeah, different times, but hopefully people have learned.
Gone past that, yes.
Yeah. I do want to make note that not long after that, she was featured in a small few episode stint on my favorite television show of all time. And that show is 6 Feet Under.
You were telling me about that show.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Highly recommended. 6 Feet Under is and forever will be, in my opinion, the best show on television. And... Oh,
on TV in general.
TV in general. It's probably my favorite show. Probably my favorite show of all time.
Oh, that's okay. I'll check it out. I'm very curious.
It's a very, very, very heavy show, but there's so much dark humor. You don't get too depressed.
Okay.
But obviously it's centered around a family that owns a funeral home. So
Yes.
each episode starts with a death and how those lives are impacted, and then all the stuff that's happening to the people that own this funeral home. But
Okay.
Michelle has a small stint on the show where she plays a pop star, and one of the characters is becomes her bodyguard, and he is actually a gay man in a relationship, and she ends up seducing him, and they end up sleeping together. So it's very, it's like what is happening?
Yeah. Okay.
But she hams up the idea of that pop star lifestyle. She, it's kind of presented in a Britney Spears type way. Like she's the top of her game. Everyone loves her. Her CDs are selling like crazy. Everyone wants to go to her shows. They're sold out. People are obsessed. She does a really good job doing that. I think even on that show, she embodied that character really well, and she was kind of a bitch behind the scenes. So she got to ham that up a little bit.
Yeah.
She then did a independent film called Mysterious Skin with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I saw it back when I was in high school. I really don't remember it, and I definitely would like to revisit it. Not only because, not only to honor Michelle, but also I remember it being a pretty good movie, and I'm a sucker for independent film, character study type things, so I'm definitely going to recheck that out. She then did a movie called Ice Princess, which I did admit to Brittany today that I have never seen, so don't come
honestly,
at me.
I wasn't surprised. It's fine. Like unless you were into ice skating, I don't think that was a movie that was like appealing to the male audience.
Right.
Unless you were like, let me start to learn how to figure skate. It's a great movie though. Disney Plus, watched it the other day.
Yeah.
There were parts I was just sobbing and I was like, wow, okay, I get it.
Yeah. No, good. I did watch some clips though, just to kind of get the vibe and the feel, and some of the clips I saw were actually really well done. And of course, she's bringing her in-game acting, and the rest of the cast obviously seems to be on top of it as well. So it sounds like I was in the wrong for not ever checking it out.
Yeah, and she has really good chemistry with Hayden Panettiere, who she plays alongside. Like at first, her character is like the bitchy high school girl, but then like things happen. You're like, okay, so they see each other. They see themselves in each other, and it's a good chemistry.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will have to check it out. I know a lot of people really, really, really love that movie. So again,
that's how I got. Sorry to cut you off. Introduced to Ali and AJ, the duo, the group.
Yeah. Were they a part? Or do they have a song for it?
So the very first song that starts in the movie is one of theirs, but I want to say that movie came out before their full album did, so it was probably a single. Okay. And around that time, they were probably Disney Channel did like music videos and stuff like that. So I was essentially introduced to one of my favorite bands or duos growing up from that movie in 2005.
Oh, yeah. I love connections like that, so that's great.
I was like, wait a minute, because immediately it started and I got chills and I was like, wait, I don't remember this, but apparently my body does.
Like, wait, I got this.
Yeah, and my cousin and I, we would sing the albums constantly. So I've seen that movie far too many times because I loved ice skating so much, and the performance of Michelle, and Michelle Kwan was in it. Definitely watch it. It's a good one.
I definitely need to. Michelle Trachtenberg is actually really good at ice skating, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So her taking on that role made sense, and I think I've never ice skated in my life. I'm 37 years old and I've never done it, and I feel like I need to. Maybe I'll watch that movie and I'll feel the need
get
to
the
go
courage. Yeah, I love that for you.
I'll do it for Michelle.
Yeah. Do it. Definitely do it. You'll see in the movie she wears like butt pads, definitely elbow pads. We're getting a little older. You want to fall nice. I'm just like,
Brittany, I am the clumsiest person. If there is the smallest thing that I can trip over, I will trip over it. So I will definitely, I'll bubble boy myself out on that ice skating rink for sure.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Well,
It's definitely a good time, but the height ratio in adulthood, thinking like slipping on ice, not the best thing.
no,
Yeah.
that's sounds awful.
Yes. Yes. But I'm
Uh,
surprised you've never ice skated before.
yeah, I don't know why. I used to love skating. I used to skate all the time, and ice skating was just something that I don't know.
Ice skating was my jam because the school that I went to, we would have like Friday night ice skate thingies at the rec center.
Hold
So
up.
that was me. I was just like in and out.
That's awesome.
I love it.
She went on to do a couple more TV shows. She had a small little run on House MD. She also did some Law and Order. Law and Order. She also did some Law and Order, Criminal Intent episodes. I don't remember how many episodes she was in. I think there was a few. Maybe she had like a little character arc. Might be wrong
Yeah.
on that, but
I've watched Criminal Intent like off and on.
Gotcha.
That was like the sick days.
yeah, okay.
Before.
I never really, it was never really something I got into. Which I mean, I know I'm a little minority on that, but it's
Yeah.
was
I'm
never
more of
something
a like SVU,
sure.
Olivia Benson. That was my Elliot Stabler. Like those were my two guys.
That's your jam.
Yeah.
So then she went on to do another movie that I really enjoyed. This was a slasher horror film. It was a remake. Do you know what movie this is, Brittany?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, we're going to do this episode together then.
Oh no, I'm nervous.
Yeah, you're welcome. So in 2006, she was in a film as one of the main characters in the remake of Black Christmas.
So I saw that and I was like, have I seen that? I have not seen that.
Okay, well, we're going to do an episode on that. So
Okay.
keep that in the back of your head.
I'm nervous. I'm ready.
I loved it. She was one of the main girls, and I think this was her first big horror thing that she had done. Of course, you know, my love for horror films and her career in general, I was like, wow, double whammy here. Like, of course I'd love this movie, and saw it in theaters. Absolutely loved it. I used to watch it a lot, actually. It's one of those easy feel-good slasher films you can just throw on. Yeah, it's just great.
No, but I feel that. I do that with Scream, so I get it.
Yeah.
Maybe that movie, Black Christmas, will be on the rotation. We'll
There you
see
go.
what
It has very similar vibes to Scream, of course. And then we have 17 again, where she starred alongside Zac Efron and the late Matthew Perry. I saw a lot of pictures online of people posting pictures of the two of them together and saying that heaven has a whole lot more laughter up there. And I was like, oh.
I know. So devastating.
I do love seeing those pictures. So, of course, they had a couple scenes together in that film. And, people putting those
Just
pictures.
another great one. I love that.
I haven't watched it in a very long time, but I do remember when I saw it, I was like, this movie's actually really funny. I think all of them really got to show their comedic chops, and it had a nice little heartwarming story as well. Well, then I think we need to jump into this TV show that she was on called Mercy. It was on network television. I never watched it. It debuted in 2009. It was about 3 nurses that dealt with patients and personal issues at a Mercy hospital. And she was one of the nurses there. Her name was Chloe Payne. A lot of people say that Michelle did a great job on the show, and I don't think the show lasted very long. Maybe 2 seasons, maybe even only 1. But
only one. There's 22 episodes.
Oh, gotcha. So while she was on Mercy, she was asked to be a part of a television show called Gossip Girl.
Yes.
Gossip Girl was, at the time, very popular, but also under the radar still. There was a big writer's strike that happened, and during that writer's strike, they got to use a lot of promo to really push the show. Parents are outraged about how...
Outraged. It was wild. Being a part of that, just whirlwind of a TV show that just put adults on edge. Mm-hmm. It really wasn't that serious, y'all.
No, guys, this show, when it came out, and obviously into its second season, it was parents were left and right. My child would not watch this. This was on network TV too. This wasn't like we weren't in Euphoria land here on HBO.
No, it wasn't
guys.
HBO. This is the CW.
Yeah, we were on the CW land where, the boundaries they were pushing then are pretty much in PG movies nowadays. That sounded very old of me. Anyway.
You're like, oh, those pesky kids.
Those pesky kids. So the one thing I loved about it is that they took that, it wasn't necessarily negative, but they took all of those things that these parents were saying and they used that as the promo of the show. And that's what grew the audience. So the writer's strike really helped. So they decided to bring in someone to really stand out and to shake things up. And they brought in this character named Georgina Sparks. And obviously she is played by Michelle Trachtenberg. And let me tell you, this is a bad bitch.
She was a bad bitch, and everybody knew it. Everybody was scared.
Everyone was scared. I mean, Serena, Blair, all of them were like, oh boy.
Dan, poor Humphrey. Poor Dan Humphrey.
Poor Dan. I mean, this girl was faking pregnancies. She was faking who the father was when she actually was pregnant. She was poisoning people. She was
taking babies, stalking people.
Oh man, she was meddling left and right, and the shit that she did, whew, she's wild. But she was a self-proclaimed bitch. She referred to herself as a bitch quite often on the show, and even in interviews outside of press for the show, she still talked about how Georgina was one of her favorite characters she ever played because she felt like she was always kind of like the girl next door, the sweet and innocent one. And she said sometimes you just want to throw on a leather jacket and just be a bitch. Yeah. So, mad respect to that. She ended up coming back for the reboot of Gossip Girl that HBO did. She came back in the second season for
did she?
She did. She was on 2 episodes, and so they were teasing it in the first season, and there's a connection in the first season to Georgina, and then during season 2, they kind of hinted at it, and someone who's always sleuthing the internet, trying to see what's going on in movie and television land, I was blindsided when she appeared on the screen, and Georgina was back. She was
back.
She was still that bad. She was still that bad bitch that left high school. I tell you.
I love it, and I hope it said the bitch is back because that was the big thing of the promos for Gossip Girl. It was that OMFG. Parents lost it. I remember my mom saying that because I would always go in a room and watch TV, and I put it on TV, and she happened to see the commercial. She said, "What is this?" And I said, "What?
What is what?
What is what? What is what? Nothing."
People.
Nothing. She goes, "What did that say?" I was like, "Didn't say anything. I'm just gonna go downstairs."
Nope. Yeah, I'm gonna switch rooms. You stay here. Yeah.
Yes. But it's so good. In an interview back in 2021 with E, she said that Georgina Sparks was her favorite character to play because she was such an evil bitch. It was fun with the biggest smile. And you could tell she had fun with it because her storylines were so intricate and just. She said, "Oh, you want a Gossip Girl? I'll give you a Gossip Girl."
Yeah. The great thing, and this is one thing I want to say about Michelle, is that when she was on screen, she commanded your attention and she owned it.
Every time.
She always did different genres. It's crazy how no matter what genre she was doing, she was giving 110%, if not even more than that. Her character, Georgina, was... I don't know the exact number unless you do of how many episodes she was actually in the Gossip Girl. I would say probably 20-something. Mm-hmm. That sound about right? Either way, she wasn't in the whole thing. She wasn't even there from the beginning. So same as Buffy. But that character is so remembered because of her performance, how diabolical she was. But on page, someone could be diabolical and written doing crazy ass shit. But for someone to come in and bring that to life, she nailed it. She was that's what she did. That was something about her career that we can all agree on. She was given the assignment and she did what she needed to do.
She aced it and then some. Absolutely.
She aced it and then some.
It was 28 episodes that she was on the original Gossip Girl.
Gotcha.
So 30 total with the 2 episodes in the reboot.
Awesome. Yep.
which is insane because like every time she was on the screen, I said, "When is she coming back?" Because one, you never knew when she was coming back, and then she would just appear like mid drama, and you're like, "Wait a minute, I wasn't ready." Now she's back, so it's gonna get even worse. Things are like I don't even know where are we. Yeah, every time she was on screen, you knew something epic was gonna happen, and we all waited for it and thrived on it.
We did. We really did. So when news broke of her passing, I mentioned a lot of celebrities were coming out and saying heartfelt things about their time with Michelle. I absolutely love what Blake Lively wrote. I don't want to get into anything about Blake Lively in this current moment in time, but I will speak on the fact that Blake Lively broke her social media silence to say something nice about Michelle. She shared a picture. And she said, "This is the first day that I met Michelle. She was electricity. You know, when she entered a room because the vibration changed. Everything she did 200%. She laughed the fullest at someone's joke. She faced authority head on when she felt something was wrong. She cared deeply about her work. She was proud to be a part of this community and industry, as painful as it could be sometimes. She was fiercely loyal to her friends and brave for those that she loved. She was big and bold and distinctly herself, and she always had yummy caramel smelling lip gloss on because she didn't just want to sparkle on camera. She liked creating a nice experience for anyone who was in her orbit, even down to the subtle smell of her lip gloss, because she cared about the sweet details. She was a kind person through and through. Time passes. You take for granted that time that you get the chance to see an old friend. To paraphrase, the real tragedies in life are the ones that blindside you on an idle Tuesday. Hold those you love and have loved dear. The world lost a deeply sensitive and good person in Michelle. May her work and her huge heart be remembered by those who were lucky enough to experience her fire." What a great tribute. Those kids were basically growing up together too. You know, even just outside of Michelle being a part of it, those kids grew up together and they faced a lot of changes just like we did. Social media wasn't that prominent. Didn't even exist when we were young. And as we were growing up, very, very slowly, these things started coming out. And then before you knew it, we're getting into Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat. And obviously we had Facebook and MySpace, and things just exploded. And they were growing up and becoming a part of that limelight right when all that stuff happened. So they were being unfortunately, sometimes they were being bullied. And the one thing about Michelle, I've read a lot about, is that she was a huge advocate for anti-bullying. She's done a lot of anti-bullying campaigns. She's self-funded a lot of things for anti-bullying causes. And she seemed like she, never wanted to tolerate that stuff and would stand up for someone whenever they were being bullied or put in a position that they needed help. So I think a lot of people seem to honor her for being a really good person. We love that.
I felt that reading a bunch of posts about her with Blake Lively posting that, and it just literally breaks my heart reading stuff like that. But knowing that she was such a great person and touched so many people's hearts, and even starting campaigns and making sure that kids aren't bullied. Because I saw an interview, I think it was during 17 again, and somebody asked her about high school, and she was like, "No, the kids were mean to me in high school." So she understands what it's like, and she wanted to make sure other people didn't have to feel that, and that is noble in itself.
Yep. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Also, another one of the younger stars on Gossip Girl, Taylor Momsen, also wrote a really nice heartfelt tribute to her. I also want to read because I really like what she said. "In shock. When I met this girl 17 years ago, I knew we'd be friends. She was smart and sassy, bold and sensitive, funny as fuck, and filled with fire. She was simply awesome. I'll miss our late night phone calls that no one should ever hear but us. She was always in my corner and there to support me whenever I was right or wrong. I will miss you every day, my love. I think we truly understood each other, and I'm so grateful to have had a friend like you in my life for so long. You were a true friend to me, which is a rarity in this world, and I can't believe I won't hear your voice again. I hope you're fucking up heaven for both of us. I love you so much, Michelle. My heart is on the floor. I'm still in shock, but I needed to honor her. She deserves more than this. I grieve with all of her fans around the world, and my heart is with her family and loved ones. I have so much to say, but she's the only one I'd want to say it to. My love to you all, XX Taylor. So it seems, based on what all these people are saying, that she was authentically herself, and I think we all strive to do that, to be authentically ourselves every single day. And admitting that she was growing up alongside of us, I think we are at a point in our lives. I would like to think, at least to speak for myself, I want to stay true to who I am and what I believe in, and I'm not afraid if I say something about what I believe in, if someone's feelings get hurt, or if I, upset someone, because it's coming from a place of respect for myself and probably people that I care about. I do love to hear that, because we don't get to know, these celebrities, we don't get to know their human sides personally. Mm-hmm. So to hear, it's sad that sometimes it takes tragedy like this to hear these things, but it's good to know that she had these people in her corner the entire time. And we get to hear about it afterwards. So
yeah, I agree, and it's great that she stayed true to herself, because that's all you can do for yourself, is to stay true to yourself, even though people try to take you out of your character and change you to something that you're not. So,
yep. For sure. So the rest of her career seems to, kind of jump in. She did a lot of voice work. They did a Harriet the Spy animated series for Apple. She did some voice work on that. I think she played a teacher or something. She wasn't a main character, but it was kind of more geared towards children, and she lent her voice for some of that. She did some work on Robot Chicken. She did the TV show Sleepy Hollow. And outside of that, I mean, she was kind of slowing down a little bit with a lot of the things that she was doing. And based on what we've learned about her passing, it seems that there may have been some trouble with her liver, and that she had to get a liver transplant. And based on some information that people are putting out there, including one of her really close friends, it sounds like Michelle might have been in the hospital not long before her passing. There may have been complications from her liver transplant. The original medical examination of her body was inconclusive, and I have read that her parents don't want to do any further autopsies. So we might not know exactly what happened, but again, based on the information we do have, it seems that after her surgery with her liver transplant, it might not have agreed with her body. So super sad. We didn't know that there was anything that she was struggling with, because anytime I saw her on screen or in interviews, red carpets, photos, she was usually always smiling. And then the pictures she was posting on social media, maybe she didn't have that smile on her face, but she was always posting very happy things. I do hope that towards the end, she was still happy and knew that her career has touched many lives, and her as a human touched many lives as well. And I think at the end of the day, that's the most important. So, yes. Is there anything about Michelle that you wanted to touch on? Anything that you've heard about her or anything like that? Just to share.
There is one show that I remember watching growing up. It was called Truth or Scare, which she hosted, 22 episodes. It was on Discovery Kids, and it was just about different famous hauntings and spooky paranormal phenomena that happened throughout, I want to say it was the U.S. or just the world in general. And she actually was nominated for a Daytime Emmy for it.
Nice. Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah, that was back in 2001 to 2003 is whenever it ran. Wow. Which I thought was pretty cool. Like, she was just a light, and you can tell that she was a light in this world and people's lives that she would come across just in passing. Because even thinking about the different roles that she went to go for or got, or vice versa, somebody was supposed to go for the role of I forget which movie it was, but it was supposed to be Lindsay Lohan, but she ended up doing, oh, I think it was Harriet the Spy. That she,
that sounds right.
that Lindsay Lohan, or no, it wasn't Harriet the Spy because that's too early because that was 99. Whatever movie that she did in 99, Inspector Gadget, Lindsay Lohan, I think, interviewed for that, or interviewed, what is it? What is
Auditioned.
Thanked. I'm like,
hey, you could be an interview. Okay.
Yeah. Auditioned for the role, and then it was a conflict of scheduling. So she did Parent Trap, and we got Michelle Trachtenberg as Penny. So like just knowing that, like, you're in the casting room, like just waiting in the halls with your peers. So
yeah.
It's sad for the entertainment and the TV and movie world that we lost such a bright star.
Yeah, absolutely. She made such an impact, and I think a lot of people look at impact in film and television for how many awards somebody won or how much recognition someone is getting for that role from critics. But at the end of the day, the biggest award that she should have received is the award of all these people whose lives that she touched. She touched our lives through television screens, movie screens, and she obviously touched the lives of the people that were working with her. I'm going to do one more thing that someone said. They wanted to honor her. They took to Instagram. They posted a picture of them together, and that person is Danny Tamborelli from Pete and Pete. He posted a picture of them as kids, and I love what he wrote, and this is what he had to say. We grew up learning how to make people laugh together. More importantly, we learned to make each other laugh and pull pranks on everyone. We were doing improv when it was still called playing pretend to get laughs. She was a master of the clothespin game, tagging anyone and everything she could. She was a bright light, a firecracker, and a caring person who spent a lot of time and effort advocating for people who needed a louder voice. Michelle was someone to look up to in this business and to general at the world at large. She will be missed. All my love, sympathy, and compassion to Lana, Irene, and the rest of her family and friends. Sad. Yeah, so again, I just wanted to share a few of those just to show that even we can leave an impact on people's lives just being there. A simple laugh, a simple smile. It's corny, it's cliched, but it goes a long way. And this girl grew up essentially the same time we did, and she experienced the world through a completely different lens, but she was still living and making those experiences. I think Michelle Trachtenberg will definitely be missed. She already is. From my understanding, there's no other roles that she had filmed that have not yet come out. One thing I do know, though, is that she completed a screenplay, and she was apparently very proud of it. And one of the things that I've heard in several interviews from her is, what's next, Michelle? What's next? And she talked about her love for film and how she wanted to write a screenplay, and she wanted to direct it, and she wanted to be a director, and know what it was like to be on the other side of the lens. Unfortunately, we will not get to see that happen for her, but I do hope that someone takes that screenplay and honors the hell out of her. So
and brings it to life. That would be a great tribute to her.
Yeah. So for anyone listening who, loved Michelle's work, go home, pop in a DVD, get on streaming, go grab your Harriet the Spy orange VHS tape, and give it a watch. Honor Michelle and her legacy, and check out some of the things that she was advocating for over the years, especially the anti-bullying. Become part of that. Do something that's. Everyone should find ways to honor people that were trying to make an impact on the world, and I do believe that Michelle was one of those. So I think with that, that's all I have to say. I just wanted to take an hour to talk with you, Brittany. I know we have the same type of love for film and television, and Michelle was very prominent in a lot of things that we agreed that we loved on together. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. My condolences to her family and her old co-stars and her friends and just people who were knew her, didn't know her, watched her, grew up with her.
Yeah. Perfectly said. Obviously I'm not going to repeat it, so I want to say the same exact thing Brittany did. Definitely condolences to the family and all of those who were impacted by her. So, definitely miss you, Michelle, and we'll keep doing our best to keep your work alive and talk about you.
Keep watching Buffy once a year for sure.
Listen,
best believe.
And I'll tell you what, I don't know what the talks were. I don't know if Michelle was going to be a part of this possible Buffy reboot we got going on.
Yeah.
But I know they're going to honor the hell out of her no matter what that looks like. So I do want to end the episode with a quote from Harriet the Spy, and then we can head out.
Okay.
And the quote is, "The time has come," the walrus said, "to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and while the sea is boiling hot and brother pigs have wings." Thanks for chatting with me.
Did Golly say that?
Golly did say that. They said it together.
I'm sobbing and I'm sobbing. I can't. I need to rewatch that movie.
I think we definitely do need to rewatch.
Absolutely.
I'll leave you guys on that. And Brittany, thanks for taking the time to chat a little bit. And everyone, thanks for taking the time to listen. And
thank you, Dave, for taking the time to honor such a bright human being.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for doing it with me. And hopefully we'll talk again soon. Thanks, Brittany. Have a good one. Bye.